I share greetings and goodwill to you all, my fellow natural, native, earthly humans the world over. This is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher, and welcome to part 11, the continuation of my series of talks titled, Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Now, if you haven't yet watched or listened to part 1 through to part 10, I ask that you please do so before going forward with this part 11. Or that you please do so as soon as possible. I can almost guarantee you that you may learn something new, or you may be reminded, about something, or at the very least you may get something from this to think about. These are perspectives and analysis. Now in this part 11, I was supposed to talk about beware of false prophets. I was supposed to continue talking about false prophets and using the quote from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book according to Matthew 7, 15 to 20. But I will pick up on that in the next episode. You might well remember in one of my previous episodes where I told you in no uncertain terms, and will unapologetically repeat it again here, that one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why our motherland, Africa, or more correctly, Al-Kibyo land, has been raped, pillaged, contaminated, looted, robbed, and exploited of its gold, its diamond, its minerals, its human resources, and other natural resources, and why our people have been and are being subjugated mentally, spiritually, physically, psychologically, economically, and otherwise enslaved and impoverished for centuries by the alien invaders, the imperialists and colonizers, is because, I told you that it is because of the desperately wicked, soulless traitors, treasonous and unconscionable political oppressors and enemy collaborators that have been and are being masquerading as true leaders of the people, and who have masquerading as those who have our continent and our people's best interests at heart. You may also remember that in my successful attempt at proving and reinforcing my point on the wickedness of these African political oppressors and enemy collaborators that are masquerading as true leaders while standing in the way of our people's progress, where I borrowed at least 2 quotes from the imperialist and colonizers' book, which is also known as the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, commonly known to most people as the Christian Holy Bible, which I will again unapologetically repeat them here, those quotes here. And the first one is Proverbs 29 and verse 2, which states, and I quote, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear it rule, the people mourn." Unquote. You will also no doubt remember where I borrowed more quotes from the said imperialist and colonizers' book in order to explain and prove to you that not even the God that is mentioned in it, the God of the imperialists, that he may him call all people, and especially all senile men, to lead or to rule over his people, But instead, he called, according to the book, instead he called the young people and especially the young men. And why? It is because they are young and strong. Young men are strong mentally, spiritually, physically, psychologically, energetically, and otherwise. This is evident, self-evident and quite evident in the true and dynamic young African leader, Ibrahim Traore, that we can see in Burkina Faso today. Plus, they, young people, the youths, are visionaries. And they are not some old sleepyheads, end of their days and ready to die, dreamers that are fast asleep in the post that they forcefully occupied while standing in the way of the youths. Now, one of my very well awakened and enlightened listeners for some years now shared an article with me in which the unknown author identified 4 of the aforementioned oldest, desperately wicked, soulless, traitors, treasonous, and unconscionable political oppressors, and enemy collaborators they are, that have masqueraded and are masquerading as true leaders of our African people and have pretended and are pretending to have our continent and our people's best interests at heart. And the 4 are, number 1, the president of oil-rich Equatorial Guinea. His name is Theodore Obiang. I can't pronounce the rest of his name, doesn't matter. He has been in power for 46 years. This is over 4.5 decades. And to quote the author, he is currently 82 years old, much older than Ibrahim Traore. Yet the West won't call him a dictator because they, the West imperialists, benefit from his looting and oil, unquote. Now, and why would they? And why should they call him out? Remember, the West, under the inspiration, supervision, influence of their creator, of their God, is the architect, builder, and administrators of imperialism and colonialism. So why should they call him out? And as I have defined and explained to you in previous episodes, that imperialism is equal to what? Colonialism, which is equal to what? Demonism, which is equal to what? Devilism. Or to summarize, it is unadulterated wickedness. Any of these words can be used interchangeably. And there is absolutely no one that is involved with the practice of these ideologies that is good. Don't be deceived. And nothing about imperialism is good. Don't be deceived. Nothing about imperialism equal colonialism, which is equal to demonism, which is equal to devilism. That is good. Full stop. So evil can't and evil won't call out evil unless it is to deceive or to promote or to produce and promote much more evil. The second is one guy by the name of Paul Biya. He is the president of Cameroon. He has been in power for 43 years, over 2 decades as well, just like the one I mentioned before. He is currently 91 years old. And to quote the author again, he said, yet France is fine with him and won't call him a dictator because he is their puppet and does whatever they want, unquote. The third leader is one by the name of, how do you pronounce that now? Yoweri Museveni. He's the president of Uganda. He has been in power for 39 years. He is currently 79 years old. Yet the West is not trying to remove him because he serves their interest. The colonialists here in the West will not try to remove him because what? He serves their interest and they benefit from his corruption. The fourth is one by the name of Ismail Omar, the last name I can't pronounce, and he's the president of Djibouti. He has been in power for 26 years. He is currently 77 years old. Yet the Americans don't call him a dictator because his country hosts the largest U.S. military base in Africa. And quote, that was the artist said that. So evil can't and evil won't call out evil unless it is to do what? To deceive, to produce and promote much, much more evil. Now, in the interest of time, I will just focus on just one. Just to again prove and reinforce my point on how desperately wicked, soulless, treasonous, and unconscionable these African political oppressors and enemy collaborators are. And I will choose number one, yes, the president of oil-rich Equatorial Guinea. I mentioned his name, Teodoro, whatever. Whose name I cannot pronounce. But who, as mentioned before, has been in power for what? 46 years. He is currently 82 years old, much older than Ibrahim Traoré. Yet the West won't call him a dictator because they benefit from his looting and oil. Now, 86 minus 46 equal 36. So rather, 82 minus 46 equal 36. Meaning, he was a young man of age 36 when he took over the office of president of Equatorial Guinea. And after 46 years in power, the poverty rate of the people of his country is what? 76.80%. According to worldmeters.info, the population of Equatorial Guinea is 1.309 million people. And of the 1.309 under this wicked imperialist puppet's reign, 70%, which is equal, 70% of 1.309 million is equal to 916,300 of his citizens are living, or more correctly, existing and suffering in poverty. Now, let me read for you some information from an article on a website called ncesc.com. And the title of the article is, What is Poverty Like in Equatorial Guinea? And I quote, Poverty in Equatorial Guinea, a paradox of wealth and deprivation. Poverty in Equatorial Guinea presents a stark and unsettling paradox. Despite being the third richest country in Africa based on per capita income, with a figure of $8,462.30, the nation grapples with one of the highest poverty rates in the world, not just in Africa. One of the highest poverty rates in the world. Over 70% of Equatorial Guinea's population lives in poverty. A devastating reality that sharply contrasts with its apparent affluence. This extreme depravity raises critical questions about the distribution of wealth and the systematic issues that perpetuate poverty within the country. For the majority of Equatorian Guineans, life is characterized by a lack of basic necessities, inadequate access to healthcare and education, and an overall struggle for survival, showcasing a grim picture that is hidden behind the nation's high income average, unquote. Now, note also that the dominant religion of Equatorial Guinea is the religion of the colonizers. Yes, it is the imperialist religion, namely Christianity. Now, the quote continues. The alarming reality of poverty. The data paints a clear, albeit disheartening picture. In 2023, Equatorial New Guinea's poverty rate stood at a staggering 76.8%, placing it near the top of the list of countries with the highest poverty levels. This is not an isolated figure, but rather a consistent trend. The multidimensional poverty rate is also alarming, with a significant portion of the population classified as multidimensionally poor and others at risk of falling into such conditions. This means that a majority of the population does not only suffer from low income, but also lack access to essential services like healthcare, education, and proper sanitation, unquote. Now, someone, please tell me, what do you think should happen to that wicked and abominable so-called African leaders, or to these wicked and abominable so-called African leaders like these? Suddenly, shouldn't we all, on one accord, summon our source and our source and the God and gods, spirits and energies of our most honorable African ancestors, to recall them or to send them back to the spirit realm, so that they may be born again, or permanently remove them and get rid of them, these and their seeds. Not only them, but get rid of their seeds as well and their inheritors by any and by every means possible and necessary. Now, in the interest of time, I shall cut it here. So please join me in part 12 for the continuation of Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? In the meantime and between time, here's willing, not wishing, but willing, that you, my listeners, be more and more and much, much more. And definitely not be less. Don't be less, and let no one be less you. For I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say. Thanks for listening.